I think this is a great segue, talking about kids and screen time can affect learning. We've seen how COVID has certainly affected education for kids and learning. And if your child does need some extra help, Oxford Learning Centres is a great place to visit. Here to tell us more, I'm joined by the Centre Director for Oxford Learning Centre, Orleans, Barrhaven and Rockcliffe. Shella Mithani joins us. Welcome, Shella. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
When we think of Oxford Learning Centre, the first thing that comes to my mind is certainly tutoring. What makes you different and unique from other tutors and services out there?
Great question. So Derek, what we do, we go a little bit beyond the classroom skill set. We teach children how to learn. So how do we do that, right? So when the child comes to us for tutoring help or coaching help, the first thing we do a dynamic interactive assessment with every kid that comes in. It takes us about 2.5 hours to 3 hours one-on-one, but that's the time that we're ready to invest to really get to know the child a little bit better. I'll talk about the assessments a little bit more. So the first is the cognitive assessment, right? Over here, we're assessing the child's auditory skills, visual skills, his concentration level, his distractibility, does he stay on task, off task, critical thinking, problem-solving skills. What does he really enjoy about learning? So his areas of strengths, his areas of growth, his motivation, his intrinsic motivation. So we spend about an hour and a half doing that, really learning his learner profile. Then going into the academic testing where we test the language and the math. So we'll do reading, comprehension, writing, vocabulary, spelling, grammar, and then we do the math. The idea behind that is that if a child is in grade 4, for example, but working at a grade 2 level, we don't want him to start at a grade 4 level, right? Because we're looking for his baseline level, his starting point. Again, why are we doing that? Because obviously the child is struggling at school. He can't cope up with his friends who are doing grade 4 materials. So we don't want to overwhelm him. We want to start him off right where he's left off. So basically building on the foundational blocks, the building blocks that he's missed.
Yeah, and I can see that struggle will just continue, right?
That's right.
Unless they get that, that help at the level that they're, comfortable learning at, right? I can just see a child. That's why I imagine, Shella, that's why you see children sort of fall through the cracks many times in the education system. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're bang on. So when we see all that, after we've done the assessment, we would meet the parent. We will take them through the whole testing, what did the test entail, how did the child score, and if the parent decides to pursue with Oxford, we would then make a customized education plan. So every child, before even getting to the tutoring help, we would off the bat make an individualized education plan for that specific student. So every student, every child gets their own IEPs when they come to Oxford.
I mentioned off the top, COVID has disrupted learning, has disrupted the education system. And from your experience, what you've seen from children, how has it affected them?
I would say on an average, every child that does come to Oxford and we're doing the assessment, they're at least 2 years behind.
Really?
So we do get a big chunk of remedial students. At Oxford, obviously their students are coming for enrichment. But students, and the thing is that if they were behind pre-pandemic, then can you imagine how further behind they've fallen? So now it's not just 2 years, we're talking about 2.5 years and 3 years. And I think the interesting thing is it's not just the grades that we're talking about. It's their social interaction, it's their self-esteem, it's their confidence. A child, who is in kindergarten, who should have gotten all those academic foundations, is now in grade 2, but doesn't know any of that, right?
Yeah.
So how is he interacting with his friends, right? So, and what does he feel like, for a child? As an adult, if I suck at something, I'm sorry, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, no.
Why are we asking kids to do it, if they feel that they can't even read where they should be reading in grade 2. So literacy is it has multiple ripple effect going on, right? A child who was in grade 10 but now is expected to go to university after 2 years, he's like, oh my God, I haven't passed my SAT or ACT or whatever exams he needs to give in to get into a good university, and he has a different struggle altogether, right? So literacy plays a really important role in all this, and COVID definitely has put us at least 2 years behind.
Before I run out of time, one thing we want to talk about is transitory grades.
Yes.
And those require, as I understand it, special attention.
Yes.
Why do those require such attention? And what are, how would you describe that?
Yeah, so there are certain grades where I feel that student requires that they struggle, right? So from kindergarten to grade 1, and I won't say struggle, but it's a different routine for them. Right. So in grade 1, a child is expected to sit through the whole school day. Mm-hmm. It's not play-based anymore. There are just 2 recesses and 1 lunch in a typical, school setting, and he or she is supposed to sit there and literally sit and concentrate more. Grade 4 is another one where there's a lot more homework. The math and literacy takes a jump in the curriculum, right. And the teachers are expecting now for you to do work independently. So there's no more hand-holding and scaffolding. Right. Grade 7 is another one, mm-hmm. where it's like, it's an official start of high school.
Yeah, and it's kind of a middle school, right? You got that transition. I guess grade 9 is probably a big one for many students as well. I've just got 30 seconds here, and then, of course, that grade 12 into post-secondary, university, absolutely. College. Yeah. That people can get in touch with you on the website easily, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. We're on Facebook. We're on, if you just Google Oxford Learning, Rockcliffe, Orleans, it just pops up. And you have our number.
Terrific. Shella, thanks so much. This is really important. I know a lot of parents out there will be happy to hear there's so much help available out there. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.